Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 9 p.m. English news edition brought to you live from RTD channel. The top stories of tonight are: the Speaker of the National Assembly meets with the Djiboutian living abroad to strengthen ties with the diaspora. National Heritage Week concludes with a grand ceremony celebrating Djibouti's cultural legacy. And regionally, Africa Investment Forum 2025 secures over $50 billion for major development projects across the continent. Welcome back in our newsroom. We begin tonight's news with the National Assembly welcoming the Djiboutian living abroad. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Dileita Mohamed Dileita, received representatives of the Djiboutian diaspora at the headquarters of the National Assembly in the presence of several members of parliament. On the occasion, members of the Djiboutian community abroad were given a guided tour of the parliamentary building, including the plenary chamber and the meeting rooms of the standing committees. The visit allowed the participants to gain a first-hand insight into the constitutional rules of the parliamentary institution, the legislative process, and the mechanism for overseeing government action. Discussion focused on several key issues of public interest, notably the importance of the first forum of Djiboutian abroad, the institutional commitment undertaken in favor of the diaspora, and prospect for enhancing the contribution of Djiboutian living overseas to national development, skills mobilization, and the international image of Djibouti. It was emphasized that maintaining strong ties with the homeland is a crucial driver for mobilizing expertise, transferring knowledge, promoting productive investment, and strengthening Djibouti's international presence. Other news, the official closing ceremony of the second edition of National Heritage Week was held yesterday morning at the National Archives Hall under the initiative of the Ministry of Youth and Culture in partnership with the National Agency for Cultural Promotion. This major cultural event is dedicated to the promotion, preservation, and transmission of the country's tangible and intangible heritage. Held from December 23rd to 25th, 2025, National Heritage Week focus on memory, identity, and the intergenerational transmission of heritage. It brought together public institutions, cultural stakeholders, researchers, archivists, artists, students, and the general public through a rich and diverse program. The closing ceremony was presided over by the Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hiwo Mumina Asowe, and attended by several senior government officials, including the Minister of the Interior, the Minister of Labor, Employment and Social Protection, and the Secretary General for the government as well. The presence of these high-level officials underscored the institutional importance of this event. In his speech, the Secretary General for the government said he was pleased to speak at a historic place alongside national institutions for the deposit of new official archives. He explained that the presidency of the Republic had today deposit its fifth batch of archives as part of a regular process for transferring successive collection of documents. He noted that this initiative coincides with the Heritage Week and supports joint effort to preserve, valorize, and transmit national heritage to future generations. He said the archival deposit shows that heritage is not just a monument and tradition, but also includes important documents like decisions, letters, and laws that shaped the country's institutions and legal system. He added that the presidency has become a model in this field, reflecting the clear vision of the President of the Republic for safeguarding national archive heritage. In turn, the Minister of the Interior, Saeed Nuh Hassan, emphasized that participating in this event is a great honor as the official deposit of public archives at the National Library coincided with the second edition of National Heritage Week. He explained that this initiative is part of the Ministry of the Interior Archival Deposit for the National Archives under the supervision of the National Agency for Cultural Promotion. He added that the event marks the Ministry's official start in depositing its archive, showing a shared commitment to good governance. He noted that these archives now constitute a valuable administrative memory, documenting key decision, institutional development, and major milestone in the history of national administration and politics. Finally, he stressed that preserving, classifying, and eventually making this document accessible is a duty owed to the state, researchers, and future generations. For her part, the Minister of Youth and Culture did not fail to express her pleasure at announcing the conclusion of the second edition of National Heritage Week in the Republic of Djibouti. She explained that this initiative, launched by the President of the Republic in 2024, was held this year from December 23rd to 25th, 2025. The week brought together various stakeholders to celebrate the country's diverse heritage, honor a collective memory, and reaffirm the commitment to protect and transmit this legacy to future generations. She said the activities under the theme Heritage and Sustainable Development, Sharing Knowledge to Build the Future, were organized by the Ministry of Youth and Culture with the ENPC at the People's Palace. And as part of the closing event of National Heritage Week, the National Library and Archives hosted an official ceremony during which several batches of public archives were formally transferred from key government institutions to the National Archives Department under the National Agency for Cultural Promotion. The transfer archives originated notably from the Ministry of the Interior, the Ministry of Labor, and the Presidency of the Republic. This concluding event was dedicated to the official deposit of public archives, marking a pivotal step in strengthening state memory and promoting the principle of good governance. The official transfer included the fifth batch of archives from the Presidency of the Republic, the second from the Ministry of Labor, and the third batch of archives from the Ministry of the Interior. The ceremony was conducted in accordance with official protocol under the supervision of the head of the National Archives Department. The event concluded with the signing of the deposit record, symbolically and legally formalizing the transfer of these final archives to the institution entrusted with the preserving the nation's collective memory. And during an official working visit to Djibouti, the mayor of the Swedish city of Bollnäs, Abdullah Aden Mohammed, met with the Director General of the Djiboutian Agency for Social Development, Mahdi Mohamed Jama, at the agency's headquarters. The working meeting focused on social policies and prospects for decentralized cooperation between the two sides. During the discussion, the Director General presented the agency's mandate and areas of intervention, highlighting its role in implementing social development projects and improving basic infrastructure across the country. The mayor of Bollnäs expressed his admiration for the scope of the agency's action, particularly in the areas of poverty reduction and social infrastructure development. And as part of his field visit, he toured the Al Sabih Women's Empowerment Center, a multifunctional complex comprising a daycare center, a laboratory, a training facility, and a commercial spaces. He also showed a keen interest in other projects carried out by the agency in the region's discussion further explore potential areas of cooperation. And during the meeting, the president of the Regional Council of Dakhil stated that the first forum of Djiboutian living abroad had recently been held He explained that the role of the diaspora is not limited to transporting their families or investing in the country, but that they can also play a key role in building bridges between their cities of residence and cities in Djibouti. He further recalled that the President of the Republic had recently praised the initiative of Djiboutian living in Minnesota in the United States, where they organized a ceremony to celebrate Djibouti's National Independence Day on June 27 and raised the national flag abroad. He added that in turn, the President had inaugurated offices dedicated to consultation and the handling of administrative and emergency matters for Djiboutian living abroad. And for his part, the prefect of Dakhil stated on this occasion that they share with the mayor of Bulnes, Abdallah Aden, many common interests, including shared origins and religion. He also emphasized that beyond these ties, they are united by a common mission and professional responsibility. He explained that as prefect and president of a regional council alongside the staff of the Djiboutian Agency for Social Development, they all work toward national development. He concluded that this shared commitment creates opportunities for mutual learning, allowing each side to benefit from the other's experience. On his side, the Director General of ADDS said he was pleased to welcome the mayor of Bulnes, noted that the visit was a special honor because of the mayor's Somali roots, reflecting the close ties between the two peoples. He said the mayor toured all 5 regions of the country before ending his visit at the Djiboutian Agency for Social Development, where he learned about the agency's main programs in the capital and other regions. He said the meeting was a chance to explore cooperation and learn from Swedish expertise, and he hoped the discussion will continue and grow. Following the recent fire that broke out yesterday afternoon in the T10 neighborhood of Balbala district, the prefect of Djibouti, Abdi Hassan, accompanied by the president of Balbala Commune, Mohamed Hassan, visited the site to assess firsthand the extent of the damage suffered by affected families. The visit allowed local authorities and commune officials to evaluate the condition of the homes damaged by the fire, several of which were completely or partially destroyed, leaving many families in a highly vulnerable situation. The prefect and the commune president spoke directly with the victims, listening to their concern and identifying their urgent needs. The prefect of Djibouti reaffirmed the administration's commitment to work closely with the Balbala commune and relevant services to provide an appropriate response, including humanitarian assistance, temporary housing, and social support for the affected families. On the regional scene now, Somali citizens headed to the polls. Somali citizens in Greater Mogadishu headed to polling station on Thursday morning to cast their votes in local elections, the first direct election in the capital in nearly 60 years, amid tight security measures taken by the authorities to prevent any potential attacks. These elections are seen as a test ahead of the 2026 presidential vote, which will determine the successor to President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud. The government deployed over 10,000 security personnel in the capital, which has faced ongoing threats from Al-Shabaab Islamist movement linked to Al-Qaeda since 2006. The head of the Electoral Commission, Abdul Karim Ahmed Hassan, stated that all polling centers were safely closed by 6 p.m. Officials reported that attacks have decreased by 86% thanks to increased surveillance cameras. As I mentioned at the top series, the African Investment Forum Market Days 2025 concluded in Rabat, Morocco, with over $15 billion in investment commitments. The 3-day event that gathered more than 1,800 participants, including government officials, international investors, and project developers from across Africa. Discussion focused on transforming opportunities into tangible projects, in key sectors such as infrastructure, energy, agribusiness, and high-value services. The forum also emphasized fast-track investment, economic resilience, and sustainable inclusive growth, reinforcing Morocco's role as a regional hub for economic and financial dialogue. And finally, California is facing an unprecedented wave of extreme weather in 2025, including wildfires, heavy rains, and severe floods. These rapid and consecutive events have worsened damage in already vulnerable areas, increasing risk of landslide and toxic runoff. Communities in Southern California, in particular, have been exposed to repeated disasters. So that's it for tonight's news. Thanks for being with us and stay tuned for more program on our TV channel.